Hello, Dota 2 fans, and welcome to our North American coverage of the ESL One Hamburg qualifiers. We've got Immortals versus Iceberg Esports. This is Brax and Clairvoyance's new squad with a couple of young guns alongside them versus the household Korean Dota names, the MVP Phoenix squad, now rebranded as Immortals. MRP Franz here. Third series of the day. Franz, how you feeling? I'm excited for this one.
Pretty good, dude. Excited for some hashtag NA Dota.
Amen.
Of course, we have the Immortals, the Korean squad. Happy to see them move to North America, although that does mean more competition, although
Very true.
I think things are exciting for NA Dota now. There's lots of competition, and can't count Iceberg out. I think they are some strong contenders. They have two, or they have Brax, which is a very big name, but also some up-and-comers on their team.
Yeah. Clairvoyance making his return. Bryle, certainly a lot of people have been spotlighting him in FPL and just pubs in general. Charlie, the player from Sweden. So definitely some talent on this Iceberg squad. And as you mentioned, Brax, he's kind of that cerebral, captain-like player, even though not necessarily sitting in the drafter's chair, so he can certainly contribute alongside Clairvoyance in these drafts. So all day today in Europe, every single game we saw the Spirit Breaker Jakiro combo. Now Immortals pick it up. What is it about this opening?
They're two, the Spirit Breaker Jakiro, like they're two very difficult to kill heroes, especially when the enemy has a hero like Night Stalker, which they first pick. So Night Stalker suffers when he can't actually kill anyone on your team, and you can't kill Spirit Breaker, you can't kill Jakiro. Those two heroes as supports, they just don't die at level 1, at least not 1v1. Yeah, at least 2 or 3 heroes on top of them, and Spirit Breaker just charges away, or Jakiro also just slows you and runs away. And Spirit Breaker is also a hero that counteracts Night Stalker, and I don't want to say the hero is like low skill cap or something, because Spirit Breaker definitely does require some skill, namely pressing 2 buttons, but he's like a simple counter to Night Stalker.
Right.
It's a very high, I want to call it a high percentage counter to Night Stalker. You see the Night Stalker, or you see him ganking, or you see a potential gank, you charge someone, and you're there immediately. And Night Stalker doesn't excel in situations where he has to like go 2v2 or 1v1 or 3v3, because the hero doesn't he doesn't have a stun, so like he can't do anything in those situations other than try to right-click people and slow them. So Spirit Breaker can counteract the harassment that comes out of a Night Stalker in the lineup. But Night Stalker does excel at one thing really well, which is mid and late game situations where vision is very important. I think that's the one thing that teams pick Night Stalker for. He's kind of a mediocre position for.
Yeah, so you can kind of thwart his early attempts at momentum, but if he manages to stay on the map and get a little bit of farm, he can be a very pivotal tool in towards the mid game, especially versus a squad that may lack a bit of initiation, that needs to, as you mentioned it, or as you kind of characterized it before, it has a little bit of a brainless initiation where you're just kind of blindly charging in with this Spirit Breaker and hoping to be able to follow up. So we'll see if Immortals shores up their avenues of initiation going forward. But for now, even if they're able to kind of thwart the attempt of the Night Stalker early on, he should prove to still be valuable later into the game. Batrider ban, talking about vision coming out from the Immortals, and they're actually going to pick up the AA, so obviously great counter to the Necrophos, stops all that he wants to do as far as healing goes, and does add a little bit of global kill potential along with the Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, that's a really cool pick, and it also makes Immortals very fast-paced, very early game oriented. All 3 of these heroes do pretty well in the early game. AA adds Chilling Touch, which adds so much kill potential to any lane he goes to, and Spirit Breaker can acquire the target, Jakiro can slow them, so lots of kill potential coming out of Immortals' first 3 heroes.
Yeah, with that recent change, I mean, I would generally consider, at least in the first 4 to 8 minutes, Ancient Apparition susceptible to this Night Stalker rotation, but with that change to Ice Vortex, he does feel a lot more difficult to kill. At least buys enough time for maybe a reaction to from his.
It actually it feels like a meme sometimes, you know, like you're trying to kill an AA as like a melee hero or as a ranged hero, and he runs through it, gets sped up, and you run through it, gets slowed and sad, and like it can mean the difference between life and death sometimes. And
Faceless Void.
Iceberg, they pick Shadow Shaman, which is like a really, really strong lane support. Probably one of the strongest lane supports. I mean, not only does he have Shackle, which helps heroes hit the target, but also he himself does 70 damage a hit, so quite difficult to trade hits with Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, a lot of posts about using Shadow Shaman, much like the Veno or the Lich, to kind of scale up in MMR recently. The change to his base damage allows him to trade well, and it feels like in pubs you can often find the farm to get an Ags up on this hero, which is just disgusting. With the extra survivability of the wards or the splash damage, it seems to do a lot later into the game. But a very potent combo for the Immortal side in the AA Faceless Void. So more often than not, you know, if you're able to chrono up the Necrophos, there's nothing behind him to save him, and you get the chill effect of the Ice Blast on the Necro before chrono ends, then you know his toolkit is almost useless, at least in the way of survivability. So it could be really scary.
Indeed. There's more than enough bursts for the Void this game as well.
Imba Spirit.
Okay. Not something we see all that often. Hero that's kind of fallen out of favor when, you know, they nerfed the spell amplification early on. People weren't really, there wasn't really one direct way to build this hero anymore. I think obviously the most common is to still go that magic damage route and try and burst yourself through the early game into the mid game, but it feels like, you know, I haven't seen this hero be too effective for a little while. What do you think its place is in this game?
I think the one part of the game that defines Ember Spirit is when he hits level 8 and 9. I think at level 8 and 9 with level 4 Flame Guard, level 4 Chains, and at least 1 point in his ulti, which you always get, he becomes like the strongest hero at that level, like by far, just the highest damage output for a hero at level 8, 9, 10. So I think what they were going for on Iceberg is they're saying, hey, there's like a huge potential to actually just like beat the crap out of the Immortals lineup between that time. And we have the Necrophos to help follow up on kills. We have Night Stalker to help locate the kills. We have Shadow Shaman to help push towers after the kills. And so, you know, Iceberg might be thinking, hey, let's exploit this timing window and try to stop the Immortals lineup from progressing past that point, so that instead of having a scenario where the Immortals are strong enough where the Void's just free farming somewhere, Spirit Breaker and AA are looking for kills all over the map, let's just split them up and pick them off.
Yeah, very interesting perspective. If they are able to kind of set back the timings of the Void, I think one maybe a little bit of a shortcoming in the draft thus far is that they don't have anyone from great range who can right-click into the wards. So once they get a pick or two, should be fairly easy for Iceberg to transition into objectives. Definitely later into the game, you know, if the start is even decent for Immortals, Void is a really good way to deal with Ember Spirit, especially with the AA on top. But we'll see what else they got. So they got the Clinks up for themselves. That's more than interesting. It means that either the Necrophos or the Clinks will be over towards the off lane. Necrophos is certainly the more common one in that position.
Extremely North America flavor pick. Glad we're back to North American Dota, but
I mean, with just a Deso Diffusal Blade, this hero seems to do so much.
Clinks is also massive at the same, like he spikes at the same time that Ember Spirit spikes, which is after level 6, and so I mean, North America is very special in that they're thinking about timing windows a lot, kind of like similar to like RTS, like StarCraft 2 timings. They're thinking, hey, let's just be super strong at this point, but still draft like a way to end the game, but be strong at this point and try to carry it from there, like just win the game from then on, right? And so when you pick a hero like Clinks, who I think Clinks is like a weaker late game hero this game. Like in some games, Clinks is a monster, like level 50 minutes plus, but this game he's definitely a bit weaker because there's just so much disable for him. So he has to be really careful.
So what's the one early kind of game oriented hero that can throw a wrench?
Well, Clinks generally wins his lane. just because of the damage output.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you win the Clinks lane, you make sure the Ember Spirit gets his levels, you make sure the Necrophos gets his levels, and then you just try to fight and you try to make sure you win those first 2 fights and get those first 2 towers. And then from then on, the Spirit Breaker and the Void, they're gonna have trouble getting stuff done. But Immortals, they pick up Medusa, and there's actually no way they can kill the Medusa easily this game. There's no like massive damage output. They don't have any mana burners. Generally, heroes that kill Medusa, they either burn mana or they hit her in a way that she can't fight back, like a bashing hero, or a hero that can like disengage out of the stone gaze easily. But Iceberg don't really have that this game. I mean, you have the Ember Spirit that can disengage her easily, but he is not the kind of hero that forces Medusa to cast her ult. So that was a really strong pick from Immortals.
Yeah, can kind of sit her in the front lines. We talked about not being able to attack the wards or not being able to stymie the aggression early on, but you know, this is kind of the hero they can at least buy themselves some time with, allow themselves to counter initiate with the Void. You know, not your traditional kind of OD Terrorblade Clinks as far as contributing damage into the Chronosphere, but a decent solution and one that can overlap the Stone Gaze with kind of the ending of that Chronosphere duration. So interesting pick. We'll see how it ends up panning out. This is the first time I've seen Immortals under this banner play in Pro Dota. I don't know if this is actually really excited about it.
I believe they played some games in the past couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly their first week or second week on this banner and on North American soil. And so a couple of TPs happening for wards. Nothing too fancy going on. Some smokes being broken.
Yeah, Dubu gonna run into Jabs. Jabs does have a sentry, so if he's
look at that. Do you see the shell shaman?
The right
this is
click,
some Osprog right clicking.
Is he being baited, however, into the dual breath? They have Febby nearby. Febby skilled up Bash, however, and actually will end up getting the kill regardless. Duo rolling through with the Mystic Snake is able to find it.
I honestly don't blame Jabs for fucking chasing there. Like, you're doing that much damage to the AA, you're just having so much fun. You're like, eat this.
It feels good for sure up until that
you
point.
Just forget everything, you know. All you do is look at your hero and be like, why am I doing 74 damage a hit? And you keep going.
So it looks like they're going to be in an aggressive tri-lane configuration with the Bash early skill from Febby. However, they did skill up the Ice Vortex as opposed to, you know, the Cold Feet or the Chilling Touch on Dubu, so that may hinder their ability, at least in the early going. But we'll see how they end up faring. It'll be against, you know, Clinks, who in general is fairly safe as a safe laner. They're going to have to get, you know, an early charge into Ice Path to be able to kill him off. So we'll see how it ends up panning out for them. But for now, sitting around the bottom lane, MP going to take towards the safe lane on the Void, and Brax boots first offlane Necrophos.
Yeah, I assume the boots first was in anticipation to being tri-lane, but I think he'd probably rather have something like a Null Talisman against the Void just to help him lane better. But Necrophos should be fine in this lane. I don't imagine Void will die for the first couple of levels. If the Void doesn't manage his HP correctly, he'll definitely be in a little bit of trouble by the time Necro hits 4 or 5. Same goes for the Clinks. If the Clinks doesn't manage his HP correctly in the first couple of levels, I think MVP have a lot of kill potential on him. But Medusa is like Medusa's similar to Viper as a mid hero. I call it like statue Dota. Like statue heroes are mid heroes that don't budge from the mid lane. Like they just don't work as rotators.
Yeah.
Or gankers. So they just stay there, they last hit, and then they try to hit their timing, which is like for Medusa I think it's around like, it's quite late actually, like 10, 12, 14 minute mark. And so probably if he makes a rotation, it's going to be with his team, and it's going to be like to the enemy safe lane to take their tower. But
not the most QO-esque hero. We often see this guy being the hero for his team and making the flashy plays. But Medusa is definitely one he's going to have to make plays in collaboration with his squad. See how they...
He's not Phantom Assassin, right?
Yeah.
That's his hero.
For sure. we'll see how they're able to weather the storm of that, 8 to 12 minute timing that you were mentioning, draft window.
So Bryle, a little bit of an interesting starting item build. I think usually people start with a poor man shield first and then carry the quelling blade over just so you like take minimal amounts of damage early. He also doesn't have any tangos on him. Nobody pulled him tangos, so Night Stalker hopefully is coming in to do that right now. Yep.
But I mean, of all the matchups in the mid lane, Medusa doesn't feel like the worst for an Ember Spirit, who often has unfavorable ones.
And
So Clairvoyance,
she can't break his Flame Guard, so that's
right.
the one thing bad for her. But I think she should do fine as long as she doesn't let the Ember damage her too much, which she isn't really doing. But as long as she doesn't dip too low when he hits like level 3 or 4, she won't die.
No.
We'll leave that be for the time being. MP up top lane. Up against Braxton, may have some support inbound from Dubu, but there is a Radiant Observer ward that scouted his rotation. So Icy Vortex going to come out. Brax doesn't really feel considerably threatened here just yet. Bottom lane. Bash out onto Jabs. A couple of big right clicks from the arrows, and just a little bit of trading in this lane. Febby still no charge on him yet, still level 1. And meantime, QO does end up going down here mid lane. Great start for Clairvoyance on the Night Stalker, as well as his Bryle Ember Spirit mid.
I think he probably took a little bit too much damage mid, and also the Night Stalker ganking probably finished the deal. And a little bit of action happening bottom. The Spirit Breaker might go down here.
The slow, though, from the Dual Breath should keep the rest of Iceberg Esports at bay, and for now, Febby will be able to make it out. It's a little bit lacking in the regen department, though, just the 2 tangos left. Does now get the charge, so maybe can make his way back to base and charge out if need be. Clairvoyance rotating for the 2-minute rune is going to be able to snag that away.
Good remains.
Jabs sitting on a skill point here as well. Charge going out towards mid lane. Bryle does have the Flame Guard up. It's going to expire here shortly. And now he could be in a lot of trouble. Mystic Snake flies out just as the Flame Guard expires. And they will find the return kill finally. Meanwhile, though, Brax actually goes down top lane. MP. No bash skill, but he did have the time dilation. So maybe just able to chase him down with the extra bit of slow there.
This is a really strong lane matchup for Immortals. Void's naturally really good at trading hits and just right-clicking people in general. And when you add that with Chilling Touch, it's quite a dangerous combination, especially since the Necrophos can't actually trade hits with the Void. Necro uses his nuke, and then the Void just time walks it off. So quite a favorable matchup for Immortals, and I guess that's also the reason why they can afford to have their Spirit Breaker bottom with the Jakiro. I think they're trying to lock up the Shadow Shaman and Night Stalker.
Runs into Jabs, but Jabs too low on mana to make anything out of it. Charlie even low on mana on the Clinks. No real aggressive potential for Febby, against Febby, I should say, right now. And they will TP back in the Jakiro towards the bottom. Jabs could be in a little bit of trouble taking some right clicks here. Actually, the charge as well. This could be a little bit... Oh, the lucky bash for Febby, and he doesn't actually garner tower aggro either. Forev coming through with the dual breath will allow him to back out with the Empowering Haste active. And Brack's going to be forced to pop that Ghost Shroud top lane as well. So a couple of sequences of events here favoring Immortal side. Meanwhile, QO forced to pop the Mana Shield mid lane, and the tower aggroing onto Bryle. He does get QO first. QO will get some return gold there, but the experience going the way of that Ember Spirit.
Yeah, big fan of the no back down mid plays there. Just saw a kill and went for it. And down bottom, classic Spirit Breaker 17% finishing off the Shadow Shaman. I don't think that kill would have happened without that. So
agreed. It did seem a bit brazen, him diving under the tower there. And there was support there from Charlie. He would have died in 3 or 4 right clicks there. But nevertheless, you have to play Spirit Breaker assuming you're going to get a bash, I suppose. And Febby, lucky enough to get one there. Charging out a base here, more than likely just going to cancel this. But all right, he'll finish it off. Much more aggression to be had. He gets the bash again on Jabs. Forev not quite in range for the dual breath just yet. We'll throw that out onto Charlie. Meanwhile, rotation in. First nighttime from Clairvoyance. He is level 2, nearing the level 3 mark, but can't really afford to wait for it. Charges out there with the shackle. Does find Febby. Febby, again, very tanky here. Jabs will catch the dual breath. Does have 6 stick charges, so should be just fine for now, but they won't be able to net themselves a kill. Yeah, top lane, Time Dilation goes out. With the Ghost Shroud slow, he will be able to keep MP back long enough to survive. Bryle going in mid lane, and he's going to be charged up. QO standing his ground and fighting here, and Bryle does have his ultimate skilled up, so should be able to survive this. Mystic Snake coming through. Nice sleight of fist. Perfectly timed. And now the Searing Chains may even net him a kill here on Febby. He has the Spirit Remnant Bomb, I should say, and is able to finish him off. A nice kill there, and keeping himself safe, knowing that the Mystic Snake was already expended, allows him to get aggressive back on that reinitiation. What a sleight of fist.
They also killed the Jakira bottom, so that puts Clinks in a really good position. Clinks has a Soul Ring. He still has a Cell from the start of the game, so realistically they're not going to be able to harass this Clinks out of the lane anytime soon. And now Iceberg are in sort of a good position because their Ember Spirit's strong, but Medusa's relatively weak for this stage, or at least she's a little bit hurt, and so there's a lot of rotation potential from Night Stalker and the Shadow Shaman if they decide to do that.
1.5 minutes or so left in the nighttime, but it's going to be Immortals, actually, the team to smoke up and make a movement. And there is a lot of vision for the Radiant around here, so maybe a bit of a false positive, but it actually gives them vision on Febby. They get the Icy Vortex off. Jabs could be in trouble, just has the Shackle, so he is more than likely going to fall here. No Hex available to get him out of distance, and he will be brought down. Meanwhile, mid lane, Duo in trouble. Does get the kill off onto the Night Stalker, but Bryle, once again, should be able to find this. Actually misses the Searing Chains there at the end, but has the Arcane Rune, so really not feeling all that terrible about it. MP rotating through, gets the Chronosphere off. They have the charge from the south side as well. Oh, and it's just cancelled by the Searing Chains. Can Bryle make it out of this one? He has no mana. Time Dilation will slow him. Sleight of Fist is there, but it should only delay the inevitable. And Febby's Orb of Venom tick will finish him off. Now Dubu in trouble. Clairvoyance chasing forward, gets charged up though. Dubu into the fog. Now the Night Stalker bashed by MP. Oh, Clairvoyance taking out double kill for the Spirit Breaker.
Bashed. That's all I have to say.
And that is the strat from Immortals, apparently. Get a bash on the Spirit Breaker or get a bash on the Void. Get kill, win engagement. Nicely played by them.
Brax doing what he can in the top lane, doing some creep management there to cut the wave and get his creep wave onto the tower, so that safe lane tower should take a lot of damage. No one on Immortals is really in a position to defend it, but what can you do? You just killed their mid hero, you killed their Night Stalker, so that's just the price they pay for those 2 kills, and Immortals will look to bottom to send their Void.
Yeah, they got to be pretty happy about that. I mean, Medusa, despite dying, still highest level in the game at least, sitting on level 8, and as you mentioned, they get the all-important Bryle Ember Spirit kill. They do expend Chrono, though. So maybe a little bit of a window. Is
down, but they can actually put some harassment on this tower. I mean, Clinks's strength doesn't really kick in until he has his ult. Because before his ult, he's quite squishy, so if they just put 3 heroes on top of him, he's dead. But if he has Dark Death Pact on, actually, what is it called now? It's still Death Pact. When he has that on, he's got like 1.4, 1.3k HP, so he'll be good to go from then on. He's quite close to it.
Blizzard, hurry up and sue us. Haven't changed Death Pact yet.
It's generic enough that you don't have to change it, right?
I mean,
there's no Windwalk. It's
well, we changed Frost Nova to Frost Blast. Either way.
But the thing is, like, all of the just quick divulsions here, but like Frost Blast, Frost Nova, like that's because the Lich hero like casts
literally
Frost Nova,
yeah.
So there's some very similar stuff going on there, but Clinks was never actually a Blizzard IP from as far as I know. So
yes, fair point.
Bryle doing really well in the mid lane, is pretty much the same level as Medusa as soon as he kills these 2 creep waves, so he's pretty much going neck to neck with the Medusa and net worth as well.
As you mentioned, they're going to put a little pressure on this bottom lane. Level 2 in the liquid fire will facilitate this push. And Clinks with no safe way to stymie him. So he will just soak up some experience, gets his Shadow Walk off, and has the Soul Ring. So can Soul Ring and grab a creep and maybe look to mount a defense here. They do have some vision up to the north, so they should have seen Febby rotating through. Now the charge coming through. Clairvoyance will get caught with it. MP jumping forward with the time dilation. They're going straight in onto the Clinks. He's going to force MP to time walk out to the north. And now the Shackle coming through, but Febby just too tanky. They can't turn onto him. And MP takes out the Clinks with his Shadow Walk down. Jab's in trouble as well. It's Clairvoyance. He's the third to fall. Triple kill for Febby after getting a double kill not too long ago. 7-1 and 2 on the Spirit Breaker. And we do not see Bryle Ember Spirit contribute at all to this fight, as he was fairly low, 50% HP there in the mid lane. So perhaps just a bit of unfortunate timing for Iceberg, but Immortals take a big win in this bottom lane.
So as soon as those heroes get on top of Clink, there's not much you can do. I mean, they're just bashing the crap out of everything on site for Immortals. So Brax, he also doesn't want to leave his lane because he's got a nice amount of farm. In fact, no one's really been up here for the last couple of minutes, so he hits a very nice level 7.
Yeah, nearing.
Bryle, on the other hand, I think if he had a TP, he might have been able to turn that fight for Iceberg. I mean, they were the Clinks like barely died. I think if the Clinks got like 3 or 4 more hits, definitely would have killed at least 1 or 2 more people on Immortals. But
yeah, they forced MP to time walk down and walk back up the stairs onto the Clinks, get off that time dilation. So definitely felt like a Searing Chains was more than enough to in the fight there. But either way, it looked like Bryle had just happened to trade with the Medusa at the time, and he was a little bit worse for wear, not necessarily ready to fight. 4Ev gonna join up with QO mid lane, and it looks like they're gonna mount a defense from the Radiant side. Clairvoyance rotating in, but it is daytime, so a little bit innocuous is this Night Stalker. They will charge forward, try and find Clairvoyance. There's no Nether Strike just yet, level 5 on the Spirit Breaker. Jump forward, they will catch 2 with the Searing Chains. Reaper Scythe is there as well, and 4Ev will end up dropping. Bryle, though, the one to pick up the kill. QO with the Stone Gaze is able to make it back out to safety. Has 13 stick charges as well, if need be. MP rotating around, has a Chronosphere available. Maybe looking for Charlie, but does need a little bit of help to find this kill. And AA, meanwhile, Dubu that is, up in the top lane, looking to find his level 6 and just gets it now. So there is solo kill potential for MP across the map. Brax could be the one to catch the brunt of it. Jump forward. They are going to find the Chrono. The Ice Blast going to fly through under Ghost Shroud. He can't get right click, but he also can't heal. And Dubu going to contribute towards that kill. Dubu will end up falling more than likely here top lane as Bryle aggresses upon him with Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance able to TP out as well, but still the more worthy kill going the way of Immortals and the tier 1 tower mid lane going to be their prize.
So that's a really big tower for mid lane.
Void going to cancel the charge onto Febby. Jabs may be in trouble here, looking for the bash. They don't get one just yet, but they don't even need it, as they will finish him off. Now Spirit Breaker veiled up. Takes a lot of damage, but gets the Nether Strike off. Bryle does have a defensive Spirit, but he gets bashed. He'll barely make it back, but the Urn will finish him off. Now the Ice Blast flying through. Ghost Shroud once again there for Brax. He cannot heal. Has 10 stick charges once that chilling effect expires, so he will be just fine, as they don't want to quite go full MVP style and jump up to the high ground, but they take a lot in this mid lane, does the Immortal squad.
Immortals are obviously in a really good position here, and I think they got exactly the 2 towers they wanted. They got the mid tower and the enemy safe lane tower, which opens up the enemy jungle, because they can now Immortals can now play on the bottom half of the map safely. That way they don't have to be afraid of sort of getting picked off by the Night Stalker and the Ember Spirit. Like at most they can send one hero top just to push it out and then quickly return to the bottom half of the map. But the bottom half of the map is where all the objectives are, because you're taking away the jungle from the enemy team, you're farming it for yourself, and then you also have access to the mid and bottom tier 2, which they can take easily by sieging it with Medusa and Chikiro.
Yeah, the early death on the Clinks has seemed to hurt Charlie quite a bit as well. We just haven't felt his impact yet in the game since picking up that death pact. He has really not much in the way of item progression. Soul Ring, Aquila, doesn't even have a set of treads at this point. So game is a little bit difficult right now for Iceberg. And as you mentioned, some deep vision going to facilitate aggression here. Brax in trouble. Dubu in pretty much point blank range for this Ice Blast. And they will proc the Cold Feet as well. They got a lot of magic damage coming through from Forev. And this Triumvirate of Heroes just may be able to kill Brax off. They get him in time. They're going to pay dearly. But that just means that their other two cores are farming while they kill off this high-value Necrophos. Not sure it's quite worth the death of all three of these heroes, but regardless, still cause for concern. MP going to jump forward with a time dilation. Maybe allows Forev to get out here. He has a dual breath. Oh, negative urn tick, though. May just, yeah, and it will kill him off. He'll try for the TP out. Makes it? Wow. Just in the nick of time, Forev. Looked like he was dead to rights there, but not quite the case. Charlie stalking here on MP, but they really have no other follow-up other than the Clinks. Very hard for them to get this deep undetected.
This AA is actually doing a ton of work to this Necrophos. The Necrophos had like 15 wand charges there, but couldn't pop it. And, definitely if he wasn't affected by AA, the Necro would have been more than alive for that fight.
Cancel charge by Febi, looking for Brax top lane. And yeah, again, Dubu just watching the movements of his Spirit Breaker here as QO continues to push in top lane. They do get the tower denied. Brax nicely done by him there, but regardless, the map beginning to shrink, it seems. And you know, whenever you're playing with a Clinks, you do want to be able to kind of assist him in his ganking, and without any map controller vision, it's going to be difficult. Smoke pop by Charlie's Clinks. They got down the sentry ward. They will find the Clinks here on the back lines. Looking for Bryle first, though. They have the Chronosphere available. Time dilation comes out. Chilling effect goes through Bryle. He will be able to make it back out, but the Chrono has caught Charlie in the meantime. Can they bring down the Clinks? It doesn't seem like that's the case. They do get the Ember Spirit, however. So a big kill going their way nonetheless. Dubu on point with his Ice Blast thus far. And, excuse me, QO already pushing in the bottom lane.
So Immortals in a really comfortable position to just take this tower. They have Medusa to hit it safely, Jakiro for the Liquid Fire. And you see, like, this is the kind of game that Jakiro excels in. They don't level up Ice Path. It's just max dual breath for fighting and max Liquid Fire for tower pushing. But as I say, that Iceberg's moving in.
To teach.
QO. No mana for the Stone Gaze just yet. Needs that Mystic Snake to return, and now gets it off. Bryle could be in a little bit of trouble. Takes a second to turn. Ice Blast going to fly through as well. Hits onto 3. The Reaper Scythe does kill off the Spirit Breaker in the meantime. QO still standing forward. He is going to get aggressed on, and they have nothing now to disable Iceberg as they take out the Medusa. Everyone looking for the TP out. Macropyre pop by 4F. He's going to try and get a kill onto Clairvoyance on his way out as he's going to drop. Charlie finds the kill there. MP in trouble. Has a Shadow Blade. Does get it off. And he will be able to make it out to safety. However, a good stance in this bottom lane by the Iceberg squad. They take a big swing. Almost 1,500 net worth and near 2,000 net experience going their way in that fight.
I lied when I said it was a good time for Immortals to push the tower, but they definitely could have done it a little bit more safely.
Yeah.
I think they overextended. I think the plan there should have been just to force Iceberg back and then maybe use the Stone Gaze to protect your escape.
Gold for me.
Instead, they end up under the tier 2 without Chronosphere.
Yeah, committing without Chronosphere seems like kind of the big blunder there, but still in a good position here. Bryle, though, he excels his way up to the top of the net worth and does have his Boots of Travel now, so can kind of deal with the Medusa pushing lanes in and contribute to fights thereafter. Meanwhile, Charlie looking for some aggression here. He's not going to kill MP's Void without help, that's for sure. But Dubu can certainly be a target. Dubu has a sentry on his person. Charlie needs to be careful to be mindful of that. And we'll just back out to the north, pop his Skeleton Walk again. Meanwhile, though, Immortals just farming.
Courier Snipe. I think Clinks wasn't necessarily looking for a kill there. I think he was just scouting for his team. I think he wanted to farm those camps, but saw some heroes, so thought against hitting them. Instead, though, the ward spots a courier. He gets a courier kill. Not too bad. Yeah, Immortals are just playing in the enemy jungle, as I mentioned before. This is like the place to be for them. And
they will be rewarded with a tier 2 tower here. Iceberg, with the Chronosphere available at Immortals' disposal, will not have any intentions of defending that bottom lane, and they'll make their way up to the north side of the map.
It's very NA Dota to play in the enemy jungle. Plant yourself there, and it's kind of does two things. First of all, you like get to keep the enemy out of the jungle, but also if the enemy rotates to their side of the map to gank you, it makes it less likely that they can get an objective because they have to walk back across the map.
Barley stalking mid lane. Just near eclipsing that level 11 mark, but the rotation back from Immortals will prompt the extraction of Iceberg. Now smoke onto smoke. They are going to find the Night Stalker. Do they have the sentry? They do. Dual Breath gets off onto Clairvoyance. MP is nearby, not going to expend the Chronosphere. It looks like they'll just take the Night Stalker kill here. He sticks up though, and the negative earn tick will be just short of killing off Clairvoyance. He goes for the TP home. Will be successful, but no Chronosphere expended by Immortals. So really just a volley of blows from either side as Iceberg pushing in bottom lane with their Ember Spirit, has his Boots of Travel and the Blink ready as well. This could be a bit of a fight turning item. We'll see what he's able to get done with it in the next bit. MP under the cover of Shadowblade looking for something here, and he may just find this Clinks if he walks uphill. It is daytime now. Still though, the Dire do not see the Clinks despite having this ward near the shrine. It will start to beat on the mid lane tower with Forev's Jakiro.
So, Ember Spirit has his blink, as you mentioned, so he's going to be targeting one of the supports from Immortals for the rest of the fight, and Clinks is going to be taking the other. Realistically, Iceberg, they don't have a way to save whoever's in the Chrono, so they just have to be able to fight around it and hope that...
Jump forward, he's going to find a two-man Searing Chains. Reaper Scythe will be there. Instantly, they find 2 kills. However, it's a lot of damage done on the mid lane tower, and the off lane tier 2 is taken out.
I was gonna say, hope that they stop the Void from chronoing before the chrono happens, and it looks like they just did that. I mean, that was an impressive initiation.
Yeah.
The instant chains into the Blink Reaper Scythe from Necrophos, so quite a well executed gank there from Iceberg.
I shall repay.
They'll look for the mid lane tower, charge through to by Febby. He gets chained though and silenced up before he can get the Nether Strike off. Taking a lot of damage right now, but the Macropyre looks like it will keep Brax back. Ice Blast gonna fly through from Dubu, connects onto Brax. Do they have anything more? MP still on the sidelines for 7 seconds. They want to chase forward though. Charge is there, a little bit more damage needed, and he will shatter. Now Bryle jumping forward, trying to find the kill on the Spirit Breaker. The Glimmer Cape keeping him alive. Earn Tick is there as well. Now Clairvoyance in trouble. He's gonna get Liquid Fired up, and they need to be careful not to re-engage, does Iceberg, as MP joining the fray with his Shadowblade. Double kill goes the way of QO's Medusa. And off the back of what was a really good engagement for Iceberg, they perhaps overstay their welcome in that mid lane and will get punished for it.
And Immortals definitely saw an opening to kill the Necrophos there. They have more than enough damage to kill like a single target, so they just went for it. And now they get Roche, they still have Chronosphere, which means they have Aegis and all of their teamfight potential intact for a potential big objective like a tier 3.
MP with the Blink Dagger queued up as well, so really just playing kind of the control role. You mentioned, you know, the plethora of damage that they have from the remainder of their lineup.
Iceberg can't actually kill this Medusa twice. In fact, I think they're hard pressed to kill him once. They might kill Jakiro though. I mean,
Probably does have the Desolator, so this should be pretty well. They'll grab the tower up first things foremost and just body Forev back now. MP duo looking to find a re-engagement. They will find Brax here. Ice Blast gonna fly out. Chrono onto 2. The Ice Blast only connects onto the Night Stalker. Do they have enough to bring down Clairvoyance? He will fly over the hill and will not shatter, but they get the Shadow Shaman and the Necrophos in the meantime. So kind of a zoning Chrono, if you will. It does net them a support, but it also leaves Brax out on an island by himself, where the rest of the lineup can deal with him.
a bit of miscommunication there from Iceberg, I think, as well. the Night Stalker wanting to go on the Jakiro, but the Clinks is like, hey, I just want the tower, let's get out. Like the whole Immortals team is missing. And so Brax also blinks in for the Jakiro and they get punished for it.
Bot lane.
No.
Probably going to be found out by Febby. And
Bash.
Eads the bash, won't get it this time. To balance out the luck in the early game. Meanwhile, Dubu going to drop to the Ember Spirit.
That was toasty.
Expect that to happen a couple of times a game, at least. But it does seem like he bought out beforehand, or maybe it was just poor as shit. That's probably the more likely scenario.
Yeah, you can look at his net worth, and then you can also press U and look at his GPM and be like, something doesn't match, so he's actually just bleeding gold or spending it all on support items.
New treasures.
MP top lane. Ryle has a blink chains and follow it up here.
Needs to land it.
A lot of units around. And MP, just in the nick of time, will retreat to safety. 4 FTPs in, no smoke on his person. They do have, of course, the Shadow Blade and the Blink, however, for MP.
Looks like probably won't get anything done with this Aegis unless a big fight happens soon.
Ryle gonna cop a dual breath top lane. Ice Path is there as well. Can they engage on this Ember Spirit? MP nearby, under the cover of Shadow Blade, will go for the first hit bash, does not get it. Time walks forward, gets the second hit bash though. They have enough to follow it up. There's the Nether Strike. Clairvoyance will be the kind of sacrificial lamb for his squad. Everyone else will be able to extract themselves from the top lane. Meanwhile, bottom, Charlie TP's out on the Clinks, as perhaps QO going for a kill there. Didn't expend the Stone Gaze, however.
Quick sprint.
So just a kill on the Night Stalker. Nothing really expended, though, from Immortal side. Ready to continue the fight.
Ryle picks up an Arcane Rune on Ember Spirit. That could be big for the next team fight. I mean, Ember Spirit's one of the heroes that makes best use of an Arcane Rune. I think the other ones like Zeus and Wind Ranger.
UO bottom lane.
Okay, coming on that thing.
They do have a dust on the Spirit Breaker as well. Jump forward, perfectly placed chrono by MP. And with the Ice Blast flying through, it's just shy of connecting on a Charlie. They should still get the kill, though, and they will.
Compound fracture technique.
And the gold going the way of Dubu. Nice little bonus for the Ancient Apparition. That's the strat, right? Just draft as many bashes as you can.
The 25% bash chance on time lock is a lie. It's like 80%. The mid, where I'm going down here.
Yeah, they are going to find the Jakiro. That's Reaper Scythe down, though. So really, is Immortals
Also
deterred bottom lane?
QO.
They're just going to continue here. Get at least half the HP of that tier 3 down, and we'll play it safe and back out as the Clink's going to respawn shortly. No Chronosphere available for them as well.
Febby just being as tanky as possible on Spirit Breaker. He's got a hood and a Glimmer Cape. 52% passive magic resist.
Two
Also,
bashes off the bat for MP. Clairvoyance not get caught with the Ice Blast, but won't matter.
I'm telling you, the tooltip is actually lying to you. No way it's 25%.
Feels good, man. If your MP does go no damage items, get all the bashes.
Unless your name is Charlie Yang and you're playing Faceless Void to complete the bash quest in my party, do you blink into the enemy team to try to bash them and die 3 times in a row and make the game really
Feel
hard?
like you speak from experience, sir.
Sorry, Charlie.
Got the extra attack speed from the Shadow Blade and a little bit of
Did they
agility
vision
there.
of this Dusa? The Dusa was potentially like killable twice there, or once, because there were 4 heroes parked on top of it.
They did see QO briefly, for sure. 4F TPing in may be dissuading them from pressing forward.
I lied,
but
actually. There's no way it's a kill. He's next to a shrine. This is the kind of game that Clink suffers in. He doesn't want to make moves. His team can't make moves. He can't really solo kill anyone without risking his life, just because there's so much full off on the team. But he can kill couriers, which is nice. Nice reprieve. Kyo's like, I don't care about my courier. I only care tier 3s.
Night silence.
Yeah, Solar Crest positive buff there from Forev behind QO. He'll Manta up, and now Brax is actually in trouble here. The right clicks are monumental from QO despite having the split shot up. Charge into the backlines coming through from the Spirit Breaker. Ice Blast will not connect on anyone, but they do get the tier 3 in the meantime. QO still feeling fairly healthy, still has 17 stick charges on him. They'll get hexed up here. They're going to jump forward. They get the Shackle off and the Reaper Scythe. It's not enough to kill QO, not even close. And they get the Stone Gaze off as well. Connects onto 3 heroes, essentially. Shrine is going to be used here. Bryle in trouble. He's going to be brought down. QO still standing. May just drop and does. They're going to find a buyback here on the Shadow Shaman. Febby under the cover of Glimmer Cape. No charge available, is going to end up dropping. Dubu able to TP out. In the meantime, Clink's doing Clink's things. There is a lane of racks missing top for the Immortals side.
Also, the Shadow Shaman Ward's expanding for that, so I mean, that actually swings the net worth back to pretty much even. So Iceberg in a much better position than they were 2 minutes ago. Could actually come back into this. I mean, the Clinks almost has his BKB, which should make the game a lot easier for him. I mean, Clinks doesn't have a lot of damage items right now, but certainly with the BKB he can survive it enough that he can help his team take down the Void, or help his team take down like any of the heroes other than Medusa. I think Medusa is probably the last target that Iceberg will aim for, but
Time is money.
The kind of fight that Iceberg are looking for right now is the one where they burst down the Void immediately, and then they take out the other 3 Immortals heroes, and then deal with it. So now that they don't have to deal with the top lane like split pushing, since it's pushing it naturally, they can actually group up and look for kills on the Faceless Void a lot more easily.
Yeah, Void hasn't really gone any sort of defensive item just yet. A couple of initiation-oriented items, and then he picks up the Diffusal Blade, which will give him solo kill potential with the Ice Blast on the Clinks hereafter, but already damage has been done in that top lane. Clairvoyance should be just fine, it being nighttime, to roam around this area of the map.
Shadow Shaman, I think.
Ether Shock is there. Doesn't use the charge just yet. Needs a bash, and he gets it. 80% confirmed. Ice Blast flying through will connect onto the Clinks. He's going to pop the strafe. MP gets the blink off to the north side, and they are dumbfounded from the Radiant. The scan just shy of him.
That was 4 hits and 1 bash, so I'll let that one slide out. 25%.
It was the 3rd hit, though, I think. But either way.
Yeah, out of 4 hits, it's 1 bash. So
Yeah.
Got the 25% there, 80% when it needs to be, though.
25% of the time, it works every time.
Hell yes.
Manta Style and Boots of Travel up for QO. They don't want to be susceptible to this split push any longer with the top lane naturally pushing in. MP does have a Chronosphere available, will catch Clairvoyance briefly, but they'll just do a little bit of dewarding, playing it safe. Both teams rendered a little bit blind right now as far as ward vision goes. Radiant do have this Cliff Ward, though, that will scout out the movement of most of the Dire side just for the time being.
So Immortals, they can group up for this top lane. Their 2 lanes in mid and bot are in comfortable positions. I mean, they do have to worry about the split push because Shadow Shaman looks like he wants to go down bottom, at least plant them on the tier 3 bottom.
Yeah, a couple heroes mid too.
Yeah, realistically, Iceberg, they are less favored to win these fights.
Oh, Brax, they've got vision on him. He's been charged up despite blinking over to the east. He does have some heroes nearby, however, and gets the Yules off on the Spirit Breaker. Ice Blast going to fly out. Is it going to catch? It doesn't seem to on the Brax Necrophos. But they have the Diffusal Blade, so it should be a kill on Brax. They will find him. Everyone else trying to just get out. Silenced up was QO. Charge queued up on Bryle. They will get the slight chains onto the Spirit Breaker. In the meantime, the Clinks does pick off the AA, a bit of a consolation prize for his squad as Clairvoyance goes down as well. So Necrophos and the Night Stalker are going to go down, but it does kind of feel like Iceberg successfully dragging Immortals around the map. There's no objective for them to take off the back of these 2 kills. And as I utter those words, Roshan spawns, so maybe I'll have to eat him. QO TPing in towards mid.
He jabs on the right side of the map playing Tom Clancy's Split Push Simulator. Is he gonna do it? They saw him! But he TP's out.
Charged.
And
Yeah. We'll be able to make it out. Solar Crest, easy Roche attempt here for the Immortal side. So getting those kills with the Chronosphere, well worth it for them. As QO will pick up an Aegis. And they should have a cheese as well. Who has the cheese? Okay, it's on MP's Faceless Void.
Bryle's stuck split pushing really. I don't think they can take a fight against Immortals when they have the Aegis, so Iceberg, they have to split up Immortals as much as possible, maybe try to do what they did in top lane, like rat out Arax, or at least split up the Immortals team so they're not grouped up.
Bryle going in for a kill on Dubu, bottom lane. Charge queued up already, and he will just back out. Forces the Shrine. Big tool down
does
there.
Connect though.
Do they have enough here? MP blinking forward, but he's quite a ways away, and a TP in towards the top lane from Bryle. We'll keep him safe for now. There is a Remnant nearby, though. They're pinging the area if they want to sit on this Remnant. Radiant has vision, though, of 4F. Does Bryle get greedy and want to go for this Jakiro kill?
Really low percentage, but I think it's worth a shot for them. I mean, an Ember kill, if the Ember doesn't have buyout, directly translates to them ending the game, so they're gonna... MP's at least gonna park himself there to see what happens. You have a pause, Brex is disconnected. I think the one thing that Iceberg have a problem with right now is actually being able to take a fight. It's not easy because Immortals, they have the Medusa to frontline for them, and so there's really nothing Iceberg can do about the Medusa. They have to target the Void first, and Night Stalker, like you'd think Night Stalker and Shadow Shaman, like together, they could locate the Void and burst him down, but I think the Shadow Shaman doesn't have a blink, so they don't have that option, and really the Void's difficult enough to kill already because there's the Jakiro and Spirit Breaker ready to counter initiate.
He's got the Shadow Blade as well. There's no gem. There's no Aghanim Scepter for the fucker. So it is a very tall order to fulfill for them. Be able to bring down this Void early. However, there is an Aghanim Scepter on the Necrophos. Did he actually Remnant back bottom lane?
No, he I got juked out. He remnanted somewhere else on the map to kill. So it went down, and then MP like flinched for a second, and then it was all over.
Just keep him on his heels, on his toes, I should say.
I was spamming my R button. Chrono. I wonder if you can. I don't think you can chrono him when he's traveling across the map. Probably not. Actually, absolutely not.
Spell is OP.
Could have just preemptively placed it there.
Charlie does have a BKB, but with this Blink, Aghanim Scepter, Reaper Scythe from Brax, it really does feel like they're just trying to look for a pick. Charlie beating into the Shrine, but QO beating into the more important building. That's the melee racks in the mid lane. And no, there is a glyph available for the Radiant. They'll pop it now, and the Spirit Breaker charge going to come through. Jump forward, Chronosphere is going to find one. It's going to be the Necrophos. Ice Blast flying through. Brax may just be left for dead here. He gets the Yules off, but should end up dying. MP taking a lot of damage under this Orchid. Slight Chains is there with the Spirit. Do they have enough to bring him down? They do not with the Stone Gaze there from QO. He should be able to bring down the Shadow Shaman easily. Jabs will end up falling here. The melee rack soon to fall as well. Bryle, he's been pushed back. And no casualties just yet from Immortals. They expend the Chronosphere and the Stone Gaze. Ice Path will not quite connect on these two cores. Charlie forced to pop his BKB, but he gets bashed up by the Spirit Breaker. Void is there as well. Forced to buy out. No BKB available. No Death Pact buff on Charlie. And he's going to feel a little bit ineffective without those two abilities. Now Bryle trying to make it away, will be dropped down, and in pure MVP Phoenix style, Immortals will make their way up into the fountain. Charlie looks for a flank on the back and finds a double kill. as the Spirit Breaker and Dubu AA go down. But back to objective gaming. Immortals will go. Bryle jumping forward. QO still has Aegis here. And it's almost like they want to let it expire, but by that time, it feels like their buildings could be in a lot of trouble. Jump forward. Hex is going to find the Faceless Void. MP does end up going down, and maybe now they can chase forward for more. Bryle jumping forward. Chains in 1 second for Ev. Underneath the wave here. Will end up... Oh, misses the chains for Bryle, but will end up dying more than likely. He gets Yules'd up, and it looks like he'll be brought down. They'll wait for the Reaper Scythe, as it is an Aghanim's one, and his dominating streak will be ended. However, they get the melee racks mid lane, they get the melee racks bot lane as well for the Immortals side.
That makes Immortals a lot more comfortable when it comes to split pushing. They have 2 less lanes to worry about, so now all they have to do is push down top lane when their other 2 lanes are in a nice position, and hopefully go for the third set of racks, or third lane rather, since they don't have the ranged racks yet. So just see how much difficulty Iceberg have taking down this Medusa. There's really no answer to her unless the Clink somehow gets like 5 or 6 slotted in the next half hour, but that doesn't look likely. I think Immortals will continue to push their advantage at this stage in the game, especially since they have all of their ultimates up. They're all coming up, and their lanes should be pushing in shortly.
So with Darkness popped, Iceberg trying to make one last move. They got the charge off onto Brax, but QO, he's a little bit out by his lonesome. Dubu is nearby, however. He'll pop the Stone Gaze, and the Manta Ice Blast going to fly through. Connects onto Brax, so Brax absolutely forced to buy back. Charge is going to come through almost as he lands, but they hit a 2-man slight, Searing Chains, and Charlie doing some damage from the low ground, but not enough. It looked like he was missing a couple of times onto Febby, and just a right clicks with the Scotty slow from QO, keeping them from bringing her down. Now a charge forward onto Brax. Brax is low on mana. He can't pop the Reaper Scythe to keep in fighting shape. Now Jab's in trouble as well. Gets right click down. Glimmer Cape gonna keep the Spirit Breaker safe. They whip the Chrono on MP, but he's still pressing forward regardless. Should be able to bring down the Night Stalker. QO gonna join his comrades shortly. Bryle looking for the TP out. Did he leave a remnant down? He doesn't actually, so he can't continue to contribute to this fight thereafter. They get the time dilation off onto Clairvoyance, but he's a little bit too fast. MP doing a little bit of a ring around the rosy with the Night Stalker. Will get juked out. And Brax actually survives as well, but still just so impossible. QO almost completely out by himself. The Spirit Breaker, the only one to come through, and they're just unable to find any kills on the Immortal side. Any consequential kills anyways, I should say. They do get the 2 supports.
They do get I think the net worth deficit before was like 7 or 8k, and it's down to almost 3k now. So Iceberg, they keep themselves in the game despite being 2 Rexes down. I think it's still very possible for them to win, especially because the Void doesn't really have a BKB or a Lincoln, so it's still very possible to burst him.
Charlie pops his BKB, gets a skeleton walk off, and Orev has a gem on his person, but Hero not the most mobile of heroes in Dota. MP
Time to run, they say.
Yeah. Under the cover of Shadowblade, but no Chrono.
The faceless man is running at me. Time to run.
But he can't even stare at you and intimidate you.
Medusa is like naturally very good against Necrophos because her effective HP isn't linked to her HP pool.
Right.
So the Reaper Sight doesn't work as well against her as...
Jabs.
Don't kill the messenger.
Gonna be brought down.
And since her mana pool is so insane with Scotty and Manta style, like pretty much never going to be a good chance for Brax to...
Oh, Courier is going to be brought down here by QO. He's going to start beating on the tier 3. Yeah, MP is going to get flanked. And now QO can kind of just be ignored here. Ice Blast going to fly through. Connects onto Brax. Can they bring him down is the question. Forev gets the Liquid Fire off. Buyback going to come out from MP, and they want to look to end the game now. Down into the Ice Path will go Brax. Brax will be brought down. MP TP's in towards mid lane. Still has a Chronosphere available. These 2 heroes on the sidelines for the Radiant. One to spawn in 9 seconds. The other with buyback available. And it feels like they have to expend this shortly. Bryle jumping up forward. Needs to be careful as MP is rejoining the fray now under the cover of Shadowblade. Forev looking for the ice path. Bryle nearby. They are starting to group up for a Chrono. MP looking to jump forward. He actually jumps back as the buyback expended by Brax here. Bryle gonna catch one. That's MP. He gets Reaper scythed up. It's gonna bring him real low, but he time walks off most of the damage. Ice Path gonna connect onto 3. QO going to work here. Brax forced to reuse himself defensively. A little bit out in no man's land. Now they'll take out Jabs first. MP in a little bit of trouble. Tries to back out. Ice Path will catch Brax though. And with the Diffusal Blade, they should be able to kill him off. He's pretty much out of mana. QO in the meantime takes out the Night Stalker. Brax Necrolite is gonna go down. And it looks like Immortals should have this one. Chronosphere is going to find 2. MP forced to back off, but they take out the racks in the meantime. Just 1 range racks left standing. QO going to right click into Bryle, try and keep 4F safe for now. Charlie from the high ground right clicks into the Jakiro. He's a little too tanky though. MP still surviving. QO up on the high ground all by his lonesome. Bryle does end up getting the kill on the Jakiro. Looks like MP able to make it out to safety, and QO will simply stand his ground against the wards, against 2 heroes. 1 left, and good game is called. Bryle gonna go for the feel-good morale kill at the end of this one, but that's all it will be, as Immortals in 42 minutes with 44 kills take this off the back of that QO Medusa. Some good Chronospheres early on. Really good play from Dubu on the Ancient Apparition as well. Well drafted from the Immortal squad.
Yeah, it looked like Iceberg were trading pretty evenly with Immortals, at least for the first 5 minutes. You know, they were getting kills on the Medusa, they were getting kills elsewhere. But then where Immortals' lineup really shined was from that 10-minute mark where they took the mid tower, they took the bottom safe lane tower. They just took so much farm away from Iceberg. And without that farm, they really weren't able to deal with the Medusa. I think that last pick, Medusa, really helped Immortals take this game a lot more easily. So very well drafted, very well played by Immortals.
Yeah, I think they executed very well. As you mentioned, kind of throughout the game, they were just on at the right place at the right time on the map. Feels like that, you know, not TPing in for Bryle at the bottom lane where they kill the Clinks first time really stymied the momentum of Charlie, and also just, you know, the draft from you that you mentioned. Really, Dubu was the only killable target for Charlie through the mid game, so didn't really feel the effects of the Clinks. But either way, it's a 1-0 lead for Immortals, guys. MRP. Franz here to chronicle the action for you.
That is a very important point. The Clinks actually couldn't deal with a Jakiro and Spearbreaker. Those 2 heroes are too tanky. There's too much attack slow. But anyway. Yeah.
So well drafted from Immortals. They'll take a 1-0 lead, guys. ESL One North America Hamburg qualifier. We'll be back with Game 2 shortly. And beyond that, if we don't go to Game 3, there'll be 1 more series for the day. So stick around. Lots more Dota action coming your way.